chefs at home, you guys aren't ready for this one. In studio today, we are mixing it up one way. We've got someone who's no stranger to your For You pages, someone who's no stranger to the music game, to that game of production, someone who's a pioneer and a trailblazer in music. Today, Thozi is going to give you guys his recipe for success. If I'm ready, get your knives sharpened. Let's get into it. Thozi,
Are we?
how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm easy. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, bro.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot's gonna go down today on today's episode. Very excited. We're gonna chat childhood, your love for music, everything really that brought you to where you are now and that contributed to your success. But before that, we need to loosen the bones, nyana, get soft, get easy with an icebreaker.
Cool.
So the latest icebreaker is anything is possible, where you tell us a story of something you did while intoxicated.
Drunk.
Mm.
Ugh. So in 24, I'm old. Yes. In 2014, I just remembered that 2014 is 10 years ago. Yeah, it's fine. In 2014, I passed out in a stranger's bathtub. Didn't know them. They don't know me. Passed out in their bath. I thought I was in my friend's flat.
Okay.
We were in Pretoria, and I walked into what I thought was my friend's place,
Yeah.
and I went to the bathtub and I passed out.
And then when
Yeah.
when you woke up,
And when I woke up, I walked out, obviously, but there was a bit of, who are you? Yeah, who are you? Because even me, I don't know you, you know.
hey, no, nah,
And-
yeah, PTA, they'll shoot you.
yeah,
Quick.
but he wasn't weird about it. He could tell I had a heavy night, and
Yeah,
he just
yeah.
let me walk out, and then I went to my friend's place.
Damn. Hey, you
Yeah.
never know, hey?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
today we're gonna eat a burrito.
Cool.
It's
camera.
on camera, and it packs a punch. It's not chili, but I think it's very flavorful. The flavors are very layered in the same way that you layer tracks when you DJ. So I thought, it's only fitting to make it the meal of the day. So we'll
Yeah.
just have them bring it through for us. And I not apple juice like Coca-Cola because Tozi's a good boy.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Looks nice. Looks dope.
So thank you.
You made it. Shout
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
Shout out.
yeah.
I'll start eating when you start eating. By
But-
the way.
So you want us to eat together? Who's gonna speak if we're both eating?
Fair.
Yeah,
Fair.
yeah. So let's start at the beginning.
Uh-huh.
Where's home?
Home is a lot of places.
Okay.
I stayed in or lived in. What's the difference between staying and living?
Who your English teacher is, I think.
Cool. So I stayed in 3 different provinces before the age of 12. I was born in a place in Limpopo called Monsterlos in my grandmother's bedroom.
Okay.
And then by age 6, I moved to Hendrina, which is in Mpumalanga.
Okay.
Monsterlos is in Limpopo. Moved to Hendrina, which is in Mpumalanga. And then from Hendrina to Middleburg, which is in Mpumalanga as well. And then I moved to Bronkhorstspruit, which is in Gauteng when I was 12. And I stayed there until, yeah.
So all this movement that's happening, who are you moving with? Who is in the house? How many siblings? Or what's going on? What's the dynamic?
So in Monsterlos, where I was born, I lived with my aunt, my grandma, and my mom. And then when my mom passed, I moved to Bronx. Okay, so it's a lot. I moved, man. So from Monsterlos to Hendrina, my grandma in Hendrina was bored because her husband was always out in the war or something. I don't know. And then she was bored. She was like, "Hey, Selena, borrow me that child." And then I went to live with my grandma in Hendrina. And then in Middleburg, I don't even know. I was too young to even understand why we moved. And then from Middleburg to Bronkhorstspruit, it was because my mom passed. So I had to move in with my mom's sister.
At which stage does that happen?
Which, what?
At which stage in your life? Like how old are you when your
I was
mom
12.
passes?
Actually, 11. I was ngizokhuluma isiZulu mfethu, English is
Last hour.
I was 11 turning 12. Yeah.
And then how was that going through loss so early on in life?
I mean, it was hectic, obviously, but at the same time, when you're too young, there's not a lot of things that hit you the way that they're supposed to hit you. they don't hit you the same. For instance, if you lose your mom at age 20, ugh. As a kid, obviously it's sad, but you don't. It doesn't hit you the same. You're still a kid. It was hectic, but I was a kid.
I don't know. Like I always, whenever I think about moving and like going from place to place, it's always a very difficult concept for me to grasp because every new place has its own kind of anxieties and its own fears. Especially as someone who's like an introvert, engaging and meeting new people is a bus.
Nice, yeah.
Engaging and meeting new people is always such a scary experience for me. And you moving until I assume maybe like your late teenagers. So how do you establish like friendships? How do you feel Horea? I'm home.
My man,
These are my people.
being a Kasi kid, that's not a problem for us, man.
Yeah.
You see kids playing, join. We're friends. Like it wasn't a thing. I wasn't even thinking about it. I guess I still have friends from all those places that I stayed at, but making friends was easy, man. Kasi, like kids go out and play. We didn't have tablets to keep us indoors. You only watch TV at 4:30 because there's Dragon Ball Z, and then the rest of the time you're playing. So making friends wasn't hard.
And how's school life? Are you an academic or
Hmm. So me,
Junior?
not really. No, no. So I was an above average kid.
Okay.
I posted my results on TikTok. Go and check them out.
Okay.
But I was above average. I was getting A's and B's, and then I really loved science. And then got to varsity, realized, yo, I don't like this thing. Didn't like it at all. So yeah, I was an academic of sorts, but now I don't like school at all. I'm a changed man. Yeah.
So you mentioned listening to music and the song that you played. Is this where you starting the love for music?
No.
Not yet?
Nah.
Okay, so when does that start?
Yo, in varsity, I started making music in high school, but I don't think I had clicked with yo. This is something I wanted to do. So my sister's husband, which is now at the time because I say boyfriend, would come to the house when my aunt went out. The guy would come to the house, and then he had this laptop that had FL Studio in it. So
Okay.
I'd just take it and just play around with it. And then I guess that's how it started. But in varsity, so remember I told you that I was an academic, and then I went to varsity. I didn't even apply, by the way. I got an email from TUT and UJ.
Okay.
TUT was like, yo, we're going to give you 50% off your fees. Any course that you take, we're going to give you 50%. Yeah. See, I'm into it, like,
I don't know what's going on here.
So TUT was like, we're going to give you 50% off your fees. Come through. And then I went there. And then I didn't tell my aunt back at home until they giving me 50%. So she paid for the whole thing, but she gave me the
Hey,
money.
stoked.
I had to be stoked, and then I didn't tell her, and then I took some of the money, bought myself a laptop, and then I didn't attend any of my classes. I was just in my room making music. I was making what I thought was music back then.
Okay.
It sucked, and I was selling those beats. I was selling beats for like 50 rand. I was selling them, and people were buying, which is kind of crazy when you think about it.
What when you say you're making music, when you're in high school, what is the music you're making? Are we doing hip hop? Are you doing R&B? Because every like teenage boy will rock that hip hop stage, trap stage. So what is the earliest kind of music you're making?
Hip hop.
Hip
I
hop.
grew up in nigga, man. Like, so guys, when you listen to hip hop, especially back in like 2008, they'd call you a yo-yo or a
Yeah,
nigga.
yeah.
Nigga was not a word that we used in SA, and then like I'm a nigga. I liz abom rapper liz, and I was sagging my pants. I was sagging my school pants. That was weird. Come to
Life.
think of it, I was weird. And then I made hip hop beats. What I thought was hip hop beats, at least. Yeah, and then moved over to EDM, and then now I make a bit of everything.
Yeah.
But I don't
So-
make music like that. We'll get to that. It's fine.
So what's going on in your varsity life? Like, how are you classing, but you're gonna get a report? When you send that report home, do
Didn't
you
send it.
Photoshop it first?
Didn't send it.
So
Hey, me, when I told them, I was like, hey guys, me, I don't like it here. I'm dropping out. What are you gonna do? I was like, I don't know, man. I'll work it through it. I'll figure it out. At the time, I still didn't know that I wanted to pursue music. I was just making beats, but I was like, I don't like it, man. I just don't like it. And then they were like, hey, bro, I was born. And then, yeah, I guess I born it myself.
walk
But
us through that.
they were supportive to a degree, but obviously they were not huge fans of me just dropping out, especially seeing the potential I have, being above average. I don't want to say smart, because I believe smart is, yeah, but I was performing well and I didn't want to go to school and they didn't understand that. They're like, Dagi, when you're weird, like, oh, was I born? And then I won out myself.
So do we drop out in our first year, or when are you dropping out?
First year, actually, in my mind, I dropped out first semester, but I had to wait. In a second semester, I only wrote one test/exam, and I aced it, and then I didn't write the other ones. The only one I wrote was calculus, and I aced it, and then the other ones are just, I'm not coming back.
Neither here nor there.
Yeah.
So, Mouse Born, what exactly, like, walk us through that process. How are you hustling? Because you need to eat at the end of the day. Or
Yeah.
give you the rand that you beat the fell.
Yeah, it was only that. But I was, okay, not really privileged. Remember my aunt that I told you about? First year she passed. So the house kind of fall back, gave me, like, I was staying in that house. So roof was taken care of. Now I needed to find food and to pay for electricity and whatnot. So selling those beats, I mean, it's hard. You can imagine selling beats for, at the time, I'd say in varsity, I was selling them for 50 rand. After varsity, it was like 250, 150. If you sell 5 beats, so it was that, mostly that, obviously. And then I'd call my sister. I'm like, hey, Ntwana ngiyakhala, and she'd send a little something. She's like, "Ndoda, buyele esikoleni." But I had no plans to.
You speak about your sister a lot.
Yeah, she's
And
a
we
huge
haven't.
part of.
I want us to really, like, unpack that, right? Because
Yeah.
age 12, you say you lose your mom. What does that mean for the role that your sister then plays? Does she pseudo mom for you? Because she sounds also like she's older than you.
She's 10 years older than me. Oh, 9. So, now I'm going to say heavy things. Okay, they're not heavy. They're kind of crazy. My mom was a rock star.
Okay.
Like, my mom, I was born December 29th. On the 31st, my mom was grooving. She was a rock star.
Oh, the mamzo. Okay.
So my sister was my mom from the Suge Pandin. Before my mom passed. Obviously, my mom, maybe 5 years before she passed, she had changed a lot. So she was no longer drinking. She was no longer, like, she had changed a lot. But my sister's been my mom since forever. Yeah, she took care of me. She bought my clothes for metric dance. Still owe you for that.
So, when you say your mom is a rock star, because we're just unraveling.
Nah, like, she was a rock star. Like,
But what does that, is that okay, mommy's going out tonight, or is it like, maybe mama or a little bit intoxicated? Is that something that scares you as a child, or, like, is it not a bad environment per se?
I mean, when you watch what's that guy? Oh, I'm forgetting Trevor Noah's name. What? When you watch Trevor Noah's interviews, he talks about the poverty he saw in Soweto. Is it Soweto? He talks about it in a way which everybody was poor, so you don't see it. So I was in a bad environment with my mom only. Obviously, there was her sisters that were taking care of me, but her being her in my life was kind of a bad thing. But I was a child, and it was happening a lot around me. Oh, mama kyapuza, na mama miyapuza, mama muyobuya kusasa, into normally. So it was a bad thing, but I didn't see it. Yeah. I don't think it's sad even now when I think about it. It's like, it was life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such as part of the process.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you move and you live with your aunt, do you move with your sister at this point, or is it just you and my aunties?
So my sister was already living with my aunt, so I found her there. And then, it was a complete 360, man. Having to go from a mom that drinks, a mom that's a rock star, to her sister who is like, Yeah, it was a 360, but it was a good change, obviously. Yeah, and then I stayed with my sister and my aunt. Then my sister got married, and then she fired.
Okay, okay. So I want us now to come back to where we were before we went back in time.
Mm-hmm.
You are now living in your aunt's house, who was your mom for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
How did the passing impact you, and how could you still live
Yo,
in the house?
yo, it fucked me. Yo,
Mm, mm,
it messed with me. You can imagine, like losing a parent. You can imagine. But hey, man, life has to continue.
mm.
Obviously, it's a sad thing. Okay, now I need to figure out this life thing, and I don't even have the words for it. Like it's to put it simply, it was heavy. It was heavy, and I had to drop out and live, sorry, life, and try to figure it out. Still am figuring it out, by the way. You know,
So that weight, that heaviness, how do you rid yourself of it? Like, how are you coping?
it's gonna sound so cliche. Skis for this response. No,
Scour.
you know how musicians say, music keeps me sane. It's like my therapy in a way. Not in terms of listening to it, but making it. Like just sitting in front of the computer and making music is very therapeutic, at least for me and a lot of other artists. I think if it wasn't for making music, I'd probably be depressed. So that's how I dig myself a hole and just stay in my room for the whole week and
Mm,
not do anything, just make music. And I don't know, maybe it's a distraction, could be, I don't know, but yeah, it just keeps me sane. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, so right now, as an adult, do you still kind of get triggered or look back and be like, yo, I miss my aunt who was basically my mom for
Yeah.
most of my life?
I mean, triggered is not a word I would use to describe this, but yeah, I do miss her, of course,
Mm.
of course. Like yo, man, without her, probably yeah, I don't know where I would have ended without her. So of course I miss her from time to time. Um, yeah, it's a part of life, man. I don't think I can find the words to explain it because I'm living it.
Mm.
So finding the words is gonna be a task now. Like,
Mm.
yeah, but it's of course you miss everybody that you've lost, especially if they were that close to you. On a plan, you have
Yeah,
to miss
yeah,
them.
yeah,
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 yeah, yeah. So now Retetile, we're maybe a year into production. 2 years, right?
yeah.
Because it's now the year that you would have been in second year, but you're not at second
Not
year.
in second year.
What else are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I am being told, Thozi, apply. Hey, go army by chat. Like, like, no. I say, okay, yeah. Bursary. Oh, by the way, I got many bursaries. Bursary offers
Mm,
the year I dropped out. The year after, the year
mm.
that we're talking about, I got a lot of offers, which hey, marangisli, man, I turned them down.
Eh.
I turned them down. I was making beats and I was being forced to go to something happened there.
It's still
Huh,
recording.
okay. I was being kind of forced to go to college if I didn't want to go to university, which I eventually went to.
Okay.
I went to this college in Pretoria called Denver. I think it was a scam. I don't know.
Did you finish?
I finished, but I didn't fetch my certificate. So I did N2, N3, 4, and 5, but I didn't fetch any of them. The reason is fucked up. Equally fucked up as everything I've said here is
Yeah.
I didn't want to have anything to fall back on. It's hey man. When I think if I have a kid and they tell me these things, I'd say like you have to
Mm,
go to school.
mm,
But I was
mm.
telling my uncles these. I'm like, I don't want to have anything to fall back on. I know you guys did your part and you want me to go to school, but I don't want to follow this. Like,
Mm.
yeah, I was weird
You
thinking
want no
about it.
choice.
Yeah, I want to have
Music
no
or
choice.
hunger.
Yeah, music or I sleep on somebody's couch. It's a weird attitude to have. I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting perspective to have.
Yeah.
Um, but it's one that, like you're saying, if you had a child, you wouldn't.
Yo.
You would deal with it fast. You would eradicate it fast. But sharp now we move from hip hop at some point
Mhm.
to EDM. What type of education are you getting? Is this you just YouTube teach myself, play around with, I don't know, King 808?
It's a bit of both. So I want to tell you how I got introduced to EDM. It's a crazy story. So I'm in Denver, the college, and then a friend of mine wants to go visit his other friends. He's
Okay.
like, "That's fine, Don.
Sure.
Okay, cool." We get there, it's strange clouds, man. The whole flat is like they're smoking weed. Everybody, like, there's like 10 people there, each with their joint. Like, everybody's smoking. I don't smoke weed, by the way. And then everybody's smoking weed there. And then there's this interesting music that's playing. It's loud. I'm like, yo, man, who's this? It's Skrillex, man. You need to check him
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Skrillex, you blind. Then they play these music, and then they start passing like, ish, now, but I'm not gonna say their names.
Yeah,
They
no
start
stress.
passing a mirror with lines on it. So they
Okay.
were doing cocaine. Like, they were cool kids back then. They were cool kids, so they passing. I'm like, yo, my guy, no, don't do that.
That's not the
But-
flower I know.
Yeah. And then the weed, my area. Now the music is going hard. It's going hard.
Yeah.
And then I caught the bus back home. When I got home, opened FL Studio, and I wanted to make my first EDM track, which I still have. It sucks, yo.
Okay.
It sucks so much, but I
Drop it.
No, I don't drop anything. That's the thing that I want us to get to
Okay.
a bit later on.
Okay, well, we'll definitely get there.
And then I started watching YouTube videos, and then that's kind of how it began.
And then you've been doing, you fall in love with EDM and you do E EDM.
I still make EDM that I don't release. We'll get to that. And then obviously when TikTok came along, I was doing all of these remixes. So I'm a piano and not really making EDM.
Okay, I see. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Mara, I'm still worried about how you're eating all these times. Like, if you're doing nothing but music and maybe
it's
you're
not
selling,
paying.
yeah, like yet, or it's not paying like lucratively enough to sustain
Yeah.
you. What are you doing for work? What are you doing for money? Like
Nothing.
nothing.
Hey man, when you say these things out loud, you get to realize, hey man, you fucked up. As well.
Yeah.
But I was doing nothing. People were buying those beats, 150, 250. And when you live Ekasi, man, life is cheap Ekasi. It's
Yeah.
like it's very cheap. So if you sell like 10 beats, that's 1.5. You can live off of 1.5 as a kid, Ekasi. You're 19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
But at like maybe age 22, 23, because I get we're still selling beats.
Yeah.
Denver's
22.
a fever dream.
Yeah. Yo, I think I forgot a part of my life. Like, 22,
Yeah.
what was I doing? I don't know.
You were just existing.
Yeah, but I've never had a job. My whole life, I was just selling these cheap beats and making money. Oh, actually, no. 22, 23, I got into this business where I flip iPhones. So,
DM for order.
no.
Oh, okay.
So what you do is, and now I'm going to give out my secrets that I used to use. What you do is you make ads on Facebook. You're like,
Okay.
I'll pay for your iPhone. If you don't need your iPhone, I'll give you money for it. And then people DM you. It's mostly desperate people that want money. And then, like, I have an iPhone 6. I'm like, I can give you 1.5 for it. They're like, oh, yeah, 1.5. I'm like, bro, like, it's an iPhone 6. At this point, it's old, blah, 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 blah. But you don't say it like that. You say it in a way. And then you make them see a reason. And obviously, they need money. So you meet somewhere in the middle. Maybe they give it to you for like 1.8. And then you sell it on Facebook Marketplace or OLX, whatever. You sell it for like $3,000.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a time, I think for like 2 years, where I was doing that.
And then why did you stop?
It's risky.
Especially.
Especially. But Salaban sharp.
Osha.
Salaban sharp. And it's not even a case of me doing anything wrong. I was in Pretoria. I was selling this guy an iPhone 6.
Yeah.
And then I was selling it. We met at Semi-Max KFC. And then I gave it to him. He gave me the money. And then I walked out. And then do you know Pretoria? Okay, so when you leave Semi-Max, you're approaching the Reserve Bank, and there's a street there that you have to cross. There was a car coming, so I ran. Like, I did a little jog to get to the other side. And there's two guys, but they chasing me. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And they come to me, like, yeah, let's scam about. Scam about too. And they take me back to Semi-Max. They're like, well, whose phone did you sell? I'm like, mine. What do you mean? Then they're like, call the guy that you sold the phone to. And then I call the guy, he doesn't pick up. And then they take me with a car that I thought was a cop car. It's not. It was branded South African police, blah, 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 blah. And they take me to Pretoria police station, Pretoria Central police station. And the parking is underground. They're like, "Sizokufaka plastic, like, khuluma ukuthi uthathe the phone." And then I'm like, "Dog, ngiyithengile le phone ngiyithengisa."
Yeah.
And then they let me go, but they take my personal phone and my money. And then I go to the police station in Sunnyside, which is where I was staying. And then the cop, luckily those guys, I think, I'm looking at the time. I'm overthinking it.
Don't worry about it.
So the guy, one of the guys gave me his phone to call the guy that...
that you sold it to.
Yeah. So I had that guy's number because now I would call that other guy, like, which number did I call you with? And then that cop calls that guy, the guy that took my money. Like, dog, there's two options. This guy can open a case, or you meet him and you give him his money.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, I can meet him at the police station in Pretoria Central.
Yeah.
I go there, he doesn't meet me. Then the cop tells me, if you see him, I don't know, just take a picture or something. And then I take a picture of the guy and I see him, and he sees me taking the picture and like, "When son, when's that?" And then he walks up to me and he traps me.
Wait, I want to know if so many questions that I have to ask about this story we're going to get into after we take a small little production break. Cool. And then we're gonna get back into.
And then this is gonna be gone, by the way, when I
You're gonna
back.
make it disappear. DJ and the magician, danko. So Thozi, you made the food disappear.
Yeah,
magician.
it's gone.
But what happens? I want to go back to this beating that you're being dished out.
Yeah.
So this person just traps you, also you, like you in it. It's equal. Is it war or hey, back Shailam fine?
Bang trappers. It was okay. He was the main guy, but there were other ones going in a trap here and there. You know, it was. Hey man, it was bad.
And then how does the whole situation end? Is this when you decide, okay, I'm done with this phone business?
It's not when I decided, but so my friend who I was with, watching me get the beating, he already knew that these guys, because they were talking about calling those guys with the fake cop car, and my friend knew that they were not cops, and we're probably gonna get trapped even more.
Yeah.
So in an effort to try and get real cops involved, Untwana runs into KFC Semi-Works. He locks himself in the toilet, and those guys are trying to get in there. So it was dumb. But it was smart because the real cops came. He climbed into the ceiling and then he fell. And then security was involved. And then he was arrested for damaging KFC.
Yeah.
And then I had to use some of my profits to bail him out. And then those guys took his phone because his phone had, I think, a short recording of them actually beating me. And then they let me go, and then he was arrested, and then I bailed him out, and then that's how it ended. But that's not when I ended the business. I ended it in Joburg when I was involved with Thomas. There's a guy that sold me a fake phone. He stole it from his, not fake, sorry, a stolen phone. He stole it from his friend. How do you steal from your friend? And then the friend is Zulu, KZN. The guy knew where I lived. The guy that sold the phone to me knew where I lived. And then Beza Namazulu lapa, and it was just a huge thing. And then they took my phone. I was like, okay, Ntwana, since Ntwana I joined phone yako and Mina, I sold it. I can't go to the guy, let's phone because he joined you.
Yeah.
So I was like, it was an iPhone 12. Ntwana uspanisi iPhone 12. iPhone 12. iPhone 12. Took out my SIM, gave him my phone. And then he still wanted me to add something. And I was like, dog, come on. I lost. You lost. I lost. The guy Oyinkinga, he's sitting right here in front of you. They beat him up, by the way, like real good.
Yeah, while you were watching.
Yeah. They didn't do anything to me because I showed them proof that this guy presented the phone as his
real.
own.
Yeah.
So they beat him up. I gave the guy my phone. And then that's when I ended the business. Like, this is not worth it. It's not worth it. So.
Is that the last beating you get in your life?
Yeah, I mean, it had be but I don't go around getting beatings.
Okay, is that the last fight you're involved in?
The one in Pretoria.
The one in PTA.
Yeah, I wasn't fighting. I was getting a beating, but yeah.
You're not a fighter though. You're
I'm not. Nah.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So phone business was sustaining us while we're doing music,
it
and phone
was.
business is also marrying EDM now
Yeah,
because you're
yeah,
doing EDM and selling the phones.
yeah.
And then we fast forward. TikTok content creation. When do you make that leap? Was it a conscious decision? Was it just ke borile, a re light the phone da ke nke video re bone gore di ntshang?
It's a bit of both. So I was making music. By the way, before TikTok, man, my music was playing all over radio and TV, but nobody knew who I was. Like I had songs on Channel O, MTV, Trace,
Yeah.
all these channels. I think that's when I made the switch. Like, maybe I should start creating content because when your track plays for the first time on TV, and like, man, I made it. The money's gonna come in. Next, nothing comes in. So, with TikTok, I was DMing these creators, one of which is Stella. I'm not sure if you know Stella. She's an actor, but also on TikTok.
Not ringing an immediate bell.
But I DM'd her. I was like, "Yo, I'm trying to get creators to use my music because it was around the same time. What's that guy? Old Town Road. Who's that guy?
Yeah, Lil Nas X.
Lil Nas X were just popping, and then I wanted creators to use my music so I could pop as well. And then Stella told me, "Yo, dude, like I don't want to use your track in my video, not in a bad way. Like I don't want to have to charge you because I don't think it's worth it." At the time, she had like 10,000 followers. She said she doesn't think it's worth it. She wants to wait to grow her audience so that when she starts charging for such, it's worth it for the artist. Like, yeah, fair. And then she told me, "Yo, you should create content. Like, try making videos." I was like, "Yo, me, never." But eventually one day I was like, "Hey, let me pick up my phone." Started coding videos. And then at the time I was making random videos like everybody else, doing those trends. But I was like, "Hey, dog, I'm a musician."
So you're dancing.
Yeah, there are videos of me dancing somewhere on TikTok.
Hey, yeah, we need to find those ones. Renegade.
Yeah, those things. It was, ish, man. I'm not proud. But eventually I started making videos of myself making music and people were liking them. I was like, okay, let me remix this. Because I'm a piano, at least for me, is an easy genre to adopt. You can make an amapiano track, a good one, in like 30 minutes. Whereas with the genre that I was doing, it would take me a month to finish a track.
Really?
Yeah, like it takes
And
me.
this was EDM, right?
Yeah, this was EDM. So I made amapiano remixes of tracks, and people are like, I didn't like those remixes, by the way, but they made me who I am now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I posted my first remix, which was Stapetina. People were having me. Well, it was like
Yeah.
split in between. Some were really vibing with it. Some were like, right, it's the national anthem. Why would you do that to it? Especially if you're gonna turn it to amapiano. These amapiano producers.
Yeah.
And I'm here thinking, hey, like I'm not an amapiano producer, but I get what you mean.
Yeah.
And then it popped off, and then I remixed another one and another one and another one. And then yeah, that's how it began.
I want to chat more about this piano idea, right?
Yeah.
You say it takes 30 minutes to make a
Right,
piano
10
track.
even.
So-
to make a good track.
So do you think that's a problem? Do you
Yeah.
think music should be quick, like a quick hit?
I think we can never say anything about the time that it takes to make music because everybody making the music is different. There are people that take hours to make a track. There are people that take minutes. I don't think it being quick is a bad thing. I don't think it's a good thing either. I just think it's a thing that exists in the world and we just have to live with it.
Because I mean, there's a group of people or a section of society that is not big fans or that are not big fans of amapiano.
Yeah.
And that comes from the idea that it's the same, right? Like you can expect the same thing over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Do you think the ease in which you can make a piano song is why it seems so, like why all piano songs seem like they're the same, or why the genre is so saturated?
Yeah, I mean, there is a link to that. There is some truth in saying, like when people say, all these tracks sound the same, you can see where they're coming from. They're not necessarily hating. I mean, it can be viewed as hating, but it's not really hating. Like the tracks where the producer uses the exact same drums, even they just swap out the melody and it's a different track. That's why when you Shazam Amapiano tracks, it's crazy. You can Shazam a track at the beginning and it gives you the name of another track because they're so similar, even for Shazam. So there is some truth to that, but at the same time, the same thing is happening with all kinds of music, except for maybe jazz, which really needs you to like know what you're doing, like play instruments and not actually. So yeah, everything is easier now, but what are you gonna do? You're gonna cry about it. You can't do anything. People are gonna make music, whether you cry about it or not. People are gonna get their laptops and make music. So you can't. I understand why somebody would view it as a bad thing, but me, I don't care. Like people, let people make music if they want to make music.
So, or in addition to production, you also DJ.
Yeah.
So, are we DJing only after we like popping on TikTok, or like when does the DJing start?
The DJing started when my first track played on TV. I was like,
Yeah.
need to learn, you know.
Yeah.
And I was playing like small pubs, like hey man.
Playing what? EDM.
Yeah,
Kokasi.
okay. I was playing pop and hip hop, and then you hoi in EDM there.
Yeah.
I was like, you should watch my videos where I like DJ for like 10 minutes on TikTok. I find it easy to DJ hip hop and pop than I'm a piano. Dance music in general is easier to play. That's why we're talking. I would see there's a lot of DJs, which is not a bad thing, but it's easy, very easy to DJ dance music. Hip hop and pop on the other hand, yeah, no, it's can't just press play and
Because you have
You
to
know.
fight the BPM.
so in my guys, yeah, I was known for being a hip hop DJ,
Oh,
but I wasn't really playing hip hop. There were hip hop tracks, pop and EDM. But it guys, yeah, that's just hip hop, man. Stop boring us. It's hip hop.
Yeah, if it's not what piano, then it's
Yeah.
hip hop.
Yeah.
Okay. And how does that then go? How do you grow and how do you become okay? Now I'm at a point where I could perhaps teach someone how to do this, or I can take on whoever you want to bring here.
Yeah. So I didn't grow before TikTok. Didn't grow at all. I was playing those free gigs or those gigs where they're paying you 5 clip. Even that 5 clip comes at a price. Like they have to like sit down and like 5 now.
Yeah.
So 24.
Yeah. Just give me
I
five.
can't eat 24.
Yeah.
You know. So it's only after TikTok where I started getting gigs. But like I told you before, I don't do a lot of groove. I mean, every once in a while I will play at a club or something, but it's not my favorite setting or whatever you want to call it. It's not my favorite. So I do a lot of private events, corporate events, blah blah blah, those kind of things. And then only after TikTok did I really start to get bookings that meant something, you know. And I got to switch my approach to this thing. That's why I'm not releasing like music as I'm expected to. That's why I don't play. Like I figured out, there's more than one way to make a living from what I'm doing, which is the way that I'm exploring. You know, teaching. It's a lot.
Yeah. And we're gonna get into that a lot, like very
Yeah.
soon. But from someone who used to follow you in your early days, and even when I was starting as a DJ, because that's when your like content was popping for me, and it was on my For You page a lot. So I DM'd you and you were helpful, and you told me like do this, push this, push that. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. Yeah, we've spoken
Damn.
before. Yeah, but I think via IG though, not TikTok. But you scaled up pretty quickly, like from the actual setup from which you take content. Now it looks like, hey, you're using some heavy cameras. How did you manage to do that? Like, what is allowing you from a monetary perspective to scale your operation at that rate?
Number one, it's not that hard to make videos look good.
Yeah.
Wait, what was the question, Skis? What was the question?
So from the time that you started, right,
Yeah.
and you go viral, to where you are now as a content creator, what are the type of opportunities that you're getting that are allowing you to scale so quickly? Because you even moved, ne? Like you moved to
I
an
moved
apartment,
a lot of
or
times.
like
Moving
exactly.
again now. Hey. At first it was brand partnerships, but I was a small creator back then, so like you would charge, I don't know, 3,000 for a brand partnership, but 3K is enough to buy like a decent light, and then my first paid campaign came from TikTok, actually, like my first big one. Like, sorry, the first campaign that paid money that actually could change something came from TikTok was Rising Voices.
Okay.
So it was this. We're not supposed to call it a program, but it was this thing where they were teaching us how to monetize and how to grow as creators.
Okay.
And then there was a selected 20 that were gonna get a grant from TikTok, and then I was part of the 20, and then they gave me the grant. I was like, okay. And then at the time, because I was doing this thing, and I don't want to sound like, yeah, I started this thing, but I was one of the first people to post videos of myself in SA, at least, making remixes of music, and
Yeah,
I was
of
one of the
course.
first. So around that time, there were a lot of people that were doing the same thing. So in order to stand out, I was like, okay, let me get a camera. Let me get decent lighting so that my videos, even if what I do in the video kind of sucks,
It's the
people can
same.
comment about the
The
quality. Like,
quality.
oh man, yeah, that video. What phone do you use? I'm like, hey, I'm not using a phone anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, it came from that, but it was mostly brand partnerships that allowed me to do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I want to also speak about then your we're gonna come back to Rising Voices because I think that's very interesting.
Yeah.
But there was a video where you once mentioned where you just sold a beat to some person in America and you got paid in dollars. Um,
Wait, what
and
did I say?
you sold a beat
Yeah.
to someone in America or something along those lines and you got paid in dollars. Is
Yeah.
that something that happens frequently?
Not anymore. It's okay. I get people DMing me wanting beats, but I don't produce for people anymore. Now I produce for myself to keep myself sane. But when I do sell beats, it's mostly to companies when they license these beats. So maybe a company X wants to do an ad and they need music for that. So I'll be the guy that makes the track, or
Oh, okay.
yeah, you get what I mean, right?
Yeah,
So yeah, I don't
yeah.
produce for people unless I really like your music and I really like your voice. I won't produce for you. I'll be like, yo, let's make a track. Yeah, but that hasn't happened a lot. So
Okay, I think that's interesting.
yeah,
To rewind then a bit, Rising Voices.
yeah.
You say they give you guys insights about monetization and what would you say are like the big takeaways from that
Number one,
campaign?
social media is not a job. I think that's the one thing I took. Like, social media is not a job. It's a medium that you can monetize, but it's not a job. So you have to find ways to make money on your own. Um, Another thing that I learned was there was a huge talk about how much we need to charge. You need to charge these brands. Like, brands are taking advantage of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
creators. Yeah, that's at the time I did learn something from that, but now I look at it differently. I look at it differently. I don't. If a company wants to do like a sponsored post with me, it's no longer about how much they pay me or how many followers I have. It's about what are we both getting from this. Like, what is my audience getting from you being on my page? Because if, let's say, I don't believe in X and you want me to promote X, I don't want to give that out to my audience.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so yeah.
Yo, I think that's super interesting. So, is the or are the people that are telling you guys to charge companies like the people who are running the campaign, or is it like other creators in the circle?
So there's other creators and then there's also speakers that were invited to tell us how to monetize and how much to charge and how to go about charging. So it was creators of all, like there was Mihlali there, there were famous DJs that were telling us how to maneuver the industry. I think at the time we were being viewed as, okay, content creators are the next celebrities, which is kind of true, but how I look at it, I don't want to be a celebrity. Like, I want to be a content creator. So they were trading us for media in a way,
Oh yeah, yeah.
monetizing and media and everything else.
Oh, so is that because now you're in an ecosystem of creators? Because I'm sure like you are attending events where you're networking, you're meeting people,
Yeah, I do.
and how is that circle? Because I know from the celeb circles and like reality shows and all of that, it's not a nice place to be. There's some animosity, but from maybe content creation is different. How's that ecosystem? Like, are people kind to one another? Is it you eating from the same pot as me, so we're not sharing? Like, what's going on?
There is a bit of that where people are not They're like, that's my competitor. Like
Mm.
I don't vibe with them. And then there's a lot of positivity around the whole thing. You know, people meet up and they make content together. I'm always kind of bored, for lack of a better word, when I'm at these events because I really want to make content with other people, but my content doesn't allow that. Like when I make content, I'm not the star of the show. What I'm doing in the video is what people came to the video for. So when I'm outside with other people, it's really hard to collab, you know, anything unplanned. So bored is not the right term, but I can't think of anything better than
No, no, no.
yeah, yeah.
I 100%
So yeah,
hear you.
but I mean, there's a lot of positivity, and then there's a lot of, um, oh damn, you're charging this much, but I have more followers than you. Yeah, then you need to charge more. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
there's
yeah, yeah.
talks of that. Obviously, they talk about everything.
Yeah,
They talk
yeah,
about everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's super interesting. But as an extension of that, what would you say is someone that can call themselves a content creator? Because obviously, if Joannas just comes to the event and no one knows this brother and he has like 20 followers, are they still going to be respected in the circle? Or is it like, ah, we're not boy, relax?
Well, the dope thing is there's a lot of content creators, right? And a lot of us don't know each other. So you're just automatically nice to everyone. So obviously, there are people that are going to be extra nice to you because they know you. But now it's there's not a bad treatment of anyone. No, not really. No.
Yeah. And it's like a very collaborative space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's super cool. So now you are in the business of what?
Me.
As you've grown your TikTok, you're now converting and trying to do other things outside of social media. Like you said, it's not your job, it's a medium.
Yeah, yeah.
What is something that you want then to be your job?
Right now, I'm obviously selling courses on my website.
You can promote those if you want. Like
Yo, nice. It's fine. I don't want to be too adsy.
yeah.
It's fine. Yeah, I do. I have a course. I want to do a lot of YouTube, especially this year. I'm starting a new YouTube channel.
New,
Not gonna
from scratch.
because the one that I have has a lot of people that came for the Amapiano stuff, which is not really who I am. So I grew an audience that came for something that I'm not gonna do for a very long time. So I was like, let me just start a new one. So there's that. There's the courses. I'm planning. Well, I am creating another course, where it's music production because the one that I have is DJing, and then there's another one where it's DJing just for laptops, and then I want to create another one for music production, and then now people are asking me to create another one for content creation. I'm like, yo, maybe I will, but it's not something I actively like thinking about, but maybe I might.
Yo, I think this has been such an insightful conversation. Even for me as someone who's like trying to get into that space.
Yeah.
The big things I'm taking away is choose your path and follow it. Because you said, Denver, no, you guys are gonna miss me. I don't care a damn. You look like you are sunny side until I make it in this music game.
Yeah, that was dumb though. You have to say it as it is. It's dumb.
Yeah. And then you get into the game and you start creating. You use the virality. I hope that's a word.
Yeah, it is.
Of what comes from TikTok and what comes from social media to create a brand and actively position yourself and be conscious about the way you act and the way you conduct yourself as a brand. So I think that's very, very interesting and very insightful. And chefs at home, if you guys don't use these ingredients and you're an upcoming content creator, you're in the music space, then ulahlile boy, ulahlile. But we haven't done this in a very long time. But to close off the show, we'd like you to recommend someone who you think would be a good fit, who you think people need to hear from.
I was actually like getting prepared to talk about them because we were talking about celebrities and content creators. You were asking me, what do you think a content creator is? And so I was gonna make the distinction between celebrities and content creators. Right? I have a friend who is a close friend of mine. He's a creator, but I think he's now more of a celebrity than a creator. He still makes videos. It's still his bread and butter, but hey man, he's too known to and he obviously wants to be like that famous. He wants, PD Jokes. I think he'd be a dope fit.
Yeah, for the show.
Yeah.
And I think so.
And he talks a lot, so you guys are not gonna get bored.
Yeah. And I mean, jokes means he's fun. So
Yeah.
Chefs at home, you heard PD Jokes. Please come through. Let's have an interview. Let's sit. Let's give the chefs ingredients to cook something successful. Thank you so much for coming through. Those that are watching, please like, subscribe, all those nice things. Make sure you're following Thozi on all platforms if you want to grow and you want to be inspired and you want to gain insights. That was Recipe for Success, and you are now gone.